Welcome back to the I Am Passionate podcast. It's your host, Jaron. I'm back here today with another episode, and I'll be talking a lot about anime because those who know me really, really well, they know I'm a huge anime fan to this day. And to talk about how I got into anime, I'd have to thank my big siblings, Jalen and Cameron. A little more Cameron, but Jalen is indirectly involved with me. My very first anime ever was Dragon Ball Z. I love it to this day. But before going into any more depth about anime, I just want you all to know that, we had the Thursday and Friday night football games, the Chiefs and Ravens and Packers and Eagles. I'll go more into depth about those games and the rest of the week one games that are taking place, on football Sunday and Monday. So stay tuned for those. So now that we kind of have the football and our intro out of the way, I just want to talk about anime because for me, anime, it's so many things, and I feel like I can't really define just how much anime means to me. I feel like it's been a huge part of my life. I'd say escape is one of the first words that come to mind because I could have a rough day, but then remember, hey, some of my favorite things to watch are anime. Another thing is just an adventure because I feel like with a lot of animes, you never know what you're going to get, and just extremely enjoyable. And anime over time, it's so broad, and I know that for people who don't watch anime but maybe want to start, it might be intimidating as to find out kind of what you want to watch. And I'd say that really just depends on just your own interests. If you're somebody who's into like romance related shows, there's lots of good anime. I should say that there are lots of romance animes out there that are very well received among anime fans. Romance is not really my particular niche, but I can't speak bad about romance animes, especially since I had never sat and watched one from start to finish. So, I'd say the most popular genre is easily shonen, and I'd definitely say that's my most watched genre. There's also seinen, which if I'm pronouncing that wrong, please let me know in the comments. But seinen is more mature anime for young adults, or teenagers. But like I mean, it's more so like high school age. But to talk about some of my favorite animes, I'm gonna say My Hero Naruto to kind of say like why those two are some of my favorites. Well, first, I have a little funny story to say about Naruto specifically. So, for the longest, like before I truly got into anime, like I had watched Dragon Ball Z, I had watched Akame ga Kill at the time, and I had watched most of Hunter x Hunter. But I wouldn't get into things like Naruto, and my older brother was trying and trying and trying. I just wouldn't do it because at the time I was really stubborn and I would not want to watch anime in like the Japanese language. It's just I wanted to watch something like I didn't think I had the attention span to keep up with the subtitles and pay attention to what's happening. But this is 2017 when my brother showed me a fight that happened in Boruto, which Boruto alone already has a lot of negativity towards it. But the to this day, the best fight in Naruto, which is Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki Otsutsuki, which if I'm pronouncing that wrong, let me know in the comments. Best fight in Boruto to this day. But once he showed me that, I was like, all right, I'm actually gonna sit and watch this. So started from when he was a kid, fell in love. I caught up to the anime where Boruto was at that time. I think right before spring break in 2018. 2018, I would have been a junior in high school. But My Hero, the reason why that's one of my favorites is just because I find the characters and the life so relatable. Izuku Midoriya, Bakugo, even though he's the yelling character, Todoroki, the rest of Class 1A, All Might, and just it's just so relatable to me as the main character who not gonna explain too much, even though that the show's been out for a while. Just the main character who's just very underestimated against, and then just goes to show why he's one of the best. And that aspect is very similar to Black Clover, which that's a huge theme of the show. Main character being underestimated and goes to show that hey, I can hang with some of the most powerful people in the show. Just give me time and give me a chance. Other favorites, Dragon Ball Z. I think it's one of the best animes ever just because without it, anime here in America would not be as mainstream as it is. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. When people talk about what they think the best is, no matter what the topic is, whether it's sports, whether it's movies, anime, so on and so forth. This Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is what I think the best anime is. I think it's the best just because I feel like from the first episode to the last, to the suspension keeps building and building and building and building. I feel like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood has everything you want in a story. Other animes kind of on my list and favorites, which I know I'm naming these in a certain order. By no means the order I've named them in to say it's my top 5 or top 10. I just kind of wrote down some of the animes that I just really, really like. Another anime is Fairy Tail, which they have the Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest, and Fairy Tail already is kind of in its weird niche just because Fairy Tail has too much fan service. It does, but I think Natsu is an amazing character. Another anime, Jujutsu Kaisen, which some people I feel online, from what I've understand, some people think really, really highly of Jujutsu Kaisen, while some people think it's overrated. I think it's a healthy medium. I think it's really, really good and tells an amazing story. But I can understand why it can be annoying to some people just because I feel like the way it's talked about. Black Clover, another great anime. It's very, very similar in terms of why I like Black Clover as to My Hero Academia. My apologies. And also Soul Eater. Ironically, my freshman year in college, so going back to 2020, which, at the time I was just starting it. My older brother had recommended me, hey, Jaron, you should watch Soul Eater. So I watched the first episode on my own. And then my roommate, at the time I was getting to know, he had heard me watching it. He's like, hey, you're watching Soul Eater. And he had already seen it at the time. And so we just, started watching that. And, it was just an adventure. Me and him, we just showed each other a lot of different animes. But also, speaking about one of my favorites, My Hero, I literally just got done watching the latest episode. It is 9:38 p.m. on September 7th. I am not going to say anything specific about the episode. I'm just going to state my feelings about it because stating feelings about it is not a spoiler. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. I just think it was amazing, very, very well written, and just building off of already a great season so far. And I know the My Hero manga is over. And also, speaking of manga, let me know if you're somebody who reads, like the manga, then watches the anime, or just watches the anime, or just reads the manga. For the most part, I am an anime watcher. I don't really read manga. The reason why I say I don't really read manga, I'm not against reading manga. It's just, I feel like for me, I don't like picking up books and reading them, even though I like to read. I don't know. I think I would just rather digest an anime or we'll just say a story, whether it's a manga or an anime, through television. But animes that I have read, even though I haven't fully read them, I read a decent little bit of Demon Slayer, but I haven't read all of it. And I know that the Demon Slayer manga was over years ago, but where they are in the anime, that's as much as I know, and I understand the anime is coming close to the end. I read some of Chainsaw Man, but this summer has been a very hectic summer for me, which is why that I haven't read much more. Which I'm very, very curious about Chainsaw Man. But enough about the My Hero episode. I won't spoil it for anybody. You all should go check it out. Well, if you're keeping up with the anime, you should go check it out right now. Like, literally, pause this podcast, go watch the episode, come back, and tell me that some of my feelings, you weren't feeling the same things. And if you said you were not feeling the same things, you are a liar. So, an earlier point that I was talking about was starter animes, because anime being as big as it is now in 2024, there's a lot out there, and it can be intimidating what to pick. So I kind of have a couple written down that I think will be great starter animes, kind of depending on what you're into. Let's say this is speaking from a perspective as if you have a similar thought process and interest as me, because I like the action, I like the story, but I do like slice of life. I've seen a couple of slice of life animes, but I'd say the action is more so what I'm into. But what I think, if I had to recommend to someone who has not seen a single anime right now, what would I tell them to watch? My answer is Soul Eater. The reason why I'd say that is because I feel like it is very interesting. It has an amazing plot. It gets you invested in the characters, and it also builds off of things. And also, yes, a lot of the characters, they're 13, 14 years old because, plot a part of the, Soul Eater is, students learning how to be the best at what they do. But I think that it's very mature for 13 and 14-year olds being the main characters. Yes, there are adults in the anime, but the main focus is on the younger cast. I think it's the perfect anime. I think it can get you into more animes if action is your thing. Second, I gotta recommend Naruto because if you have time to put in and you want to watch something bigger, I'm not gonna say don't watch One Piece because I'm not saying that because that is a grind. That is a grind. It's a great anime, but do not have your first anime be One Piece. The reason why I'm saying Naruto, because if you just watch as Naruto as a kid, it. I feel like as a kid, like Naruto as a kid, it's a great, like starting anime. It has, its intense moments. It has its comedy, and I feel like it tells a great story. And also a little fun fact that when I had did some research about it a while back, the first episode of Naruto in America, and I believe the English dub, came out a week after my birthday. My birthday is October 3rd. And also, Naruto's birthday is October 10th, a week after my birthday. So just the fact that Naruto's birthday and mine are just very, very close. That was a thing about the anime that I just really, really enjoyed. Another anime that I'd recommend, which this one out of my four, it might be too much of a certain niche kind of anime, but it is considered the grandfather of anime, Dragon Ball Z. But also, I'd say starting it from when Goku was a kid, the main character being Goku. I'd just say because it's interesting, and I know it's not for everybody, because Dragon Ball Z, it is not the best anime at telling a story. I feel like there are other anime that'll get you hooked on, its storytelling. But I do think the action in Dragon Ball Z is very, very good, and I think that it will keep you engaged with some of the characters because I do think a lot of the characters are very, very likable. I think, the villains, has some of the most iconic villains. I think it's great. And then the last one on my list is Hunter x Hunter. Now, those who know me, they're probably going to be surprised. They're like, Jaren, why are you putting Hunter x Hunter on here when you think it's overrated? Well, hear me out. I'm putting Hunter x Hunter on this list, kind of for similar reasons as Soul Eater. The main, arguably two characters, they're young. They're about 13 years old, give or take. And, as the show goes on, it gets more and more dark. But it's not dark like you're watching, say, a thriller type movie. Like, yes, it has its dark moments, but I feel like there's a lot of adventures between the main characters, who are all the younger group of the main characters, where you get to see them enjoying life while at the same time with the plot that's happening, they're taking care of business. So I think for, the in which I'm not even 100% sure if Soul Eater counts as a shonen anime. I'm not 100% sure, but even if it is not, I still think it is a great starting anime. And also in the background, if you can hear what sounds like a motorcycle in the background, I apologize. There's not really much I can do about that. So other animes that, I've seen and I think they're really, really good, I will mention One Piece. I think, it's well over 1,000 episodes. I'm not saying that One Piece is a starter anime because I do not think so. It is not a starter anime. I think to watch One Piece, you should watch a few animes and decide that, hey, animes for me, I really, really like this. Then maybe you can tackle One Piece. Because even though on my One Piece journey, I've essentially taken lots of breaks because, like One Piece was one of the few animes where it's like, I can't digest most of this. I think One Piece, I think I've enjoyed it more because I think it's about 1,100 episodes, probably closer to 1,200. I've enjoyed probably the second half of it. So episode, we'll just say 600 roughly. I mean, yes, I enjoyed the first half of it. I did. But I enjoyed, say, the second half of it more. I'll explain that in a future episode more. But what I will explain in a little more detail is I believe it is the longest arc of a shonen anime, maybe anime ever. Wano. I finished it recently, and I had decided because on Netflix, they're posting the episodes of the current arc Egghead, which I don't really know much about. Only thing I've seen from it is Luffy's latest transformation, but I've saw that out of context. But anyways, if you try to watch it on Netflix, which I do not recommend that, because it'll work for you for so long if you find out that you're into it, but then it'll skip you a lot of One Piece's story, which will be really, really bad, and you'll just be very, very confused. So I had decided to get Crunchyroll, which I had found out where I had left off at, and I continued Wano, and I finished it. And I'm trying to let Egghead get further so that I don't catch all the way up, because I feel like I enjoyed One Piece more since I've been able to binge it at times. If I had finished it in one sitting, I probably could have finished it way faster. But because I took multiple breaks and also, going through college, it took me from my sophomore year to a little bit after graduating to finish. Well, by finish One Piece, I mean finish, like, get past the Wano arc. But yeah, which that being about 3 years. If you take away the breaks, I'd finish probably in about a year and a half, give or take. So another thing I would like to speak about is really just also some of my favorite anime characters. Some of my favorite anime characters, I'll kind of just start off with some of my favorites. In My Hero Academia, my favorite characters, I love Izuku Midoriya, the main character. I love Bakugo's character. He's had some great character development. I love Todoroki, but yes, they're the big three. Also love Yairo's character. I love Ochako's character. Just lots of great characters in the show. Honestly, there's very few characters in My Hero that I do not like. I'd have to arguably sit and think for a while to, because other animes it's easy. Like for example, Fullmetal Alchemist. I'm just gonna say the name of the character, and those of you who've seen the anime will understand completely. I don't have to say anymore. And you'll find out in the fourth episode. Like, you know what? I'm not even gonna say his name. I'm not gonna say his name because for those of you who have not seen it, go watch it. Because if I say the name of the character and then when you learn the name of this character, you're gonna be like, Jaren hates this character. So why does he hate this character? Like you're gonna know something's gonna go on. So I'm not even gonna say it. You'll just find out very, very early. Come back to this podcast when you find out. So, but also speaking of Fullmetal Alchemist, it has a similar thing as to Naruto with the birthdays, because a key thing in Fullmetal Alchemist being the family connection. And I'm not going to explain any more than that. I have one other thing that I would say, but I'm not going to say it just for the sake of the first time anime watchers to be able to enjoy it and be completely surprised. Going on a Dragon Ball Z, my favorite character is Gohan. Gohan and Piccolo, favorite two characters. Favorite two characters. Gohan, just because I relate to him, just being able to see, Gohan as a young kid to an adult, I relate to his character. I really, really do. And Piccolo, it just goes to show that, not all people, are bad or should be written off. I feel like everybody deserves a chance to show that they can do some good, whether it be for other people, for the world, for themselves. And those are just two. The Dragon Ball has a lot of amazing characters, and also, they've brought back characters that maybe you didn't tend to think about. And I know that, something I am excited for, kind of speaking on the same topic of Dragon Ball, is Dragon Ball Daima. Let me know if I'm mispronouncing that, which you'll hear that a lot through the podcast because I'm semi-conscious about pronunciations. I understand that Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, had passed away earlier this year. Rest in peace. And by my understanding is that Dragon Ball Daima is his last creation. And by last creation, I more so mean that I believe he worked on the plot, made some, if not all of the character designs, and a trailer came out for it today, and it looked really, really good. And then the reason why I was excited for it is because I had saw some sort of timeline page, well, not timeline page, timeline graph on, I believe it was TikTok, which, it placed it to where it is, which I'm going to guess that there had been information about its story that I had missed when it takes place. And so I think where it takes place, it'll kind of give a old Dragon Ball feel because I know a lot of people with Dragon Ball, like as the newer it gets, at least with what they did in the anime, it just kind of seems like they're abandoning some things, which they are, but they aren't. It kind of just depends on your perspective of it. But though, like Gohan and Piccolo, favorite characters. Going on to say another important anime to me, saying Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, I'd say the main two, Edward Elric, Alphonse Elric. Love those characters. I think they're amazing, amazing characters. Going on to other animes, Fairy Tail. My favorite character is Natsu. He has that just mentality. He's got that dog in him. He's got that dog in him. Like kind of just like Deku and Asta from Black Clover. He can keep getting beat up, but he's going to keep getting back up, and I just love that quality. And not just for anime, even just say like action movies. Going on to Jujutsu Kaisen, my favorite character for a little while was Megami, just because I liked his powers. But my favorite character's kind of changed. I don't really know who my favorite character is in Jujutsu Kaisen. I more so think I just really, really like the story of Jujutsu Kaisen. Like Jujutsu Kaisen does have great characters, and it has characters that'll get you invested in. And if you're anywhere on social media, or even if you've heard sounds on TikTok, you've probably seen a Gojo cosplay, because Gojo, at least in say the year 2024, is easily the most popular character in anime right now. And then lastly, Soul Eater. My favorite character, I would say, is Soul, which you're probably wondering, Jared, the name of which I'm pretty sure he's not the main character. He's just, I'd say, if anything, there's two main characters, depending on how you want to look at it. But one of the main two characters that we follow is one of my favorite characters. Another favorite character of mine. Actually, you don't know. My favorite characters are the main two that we follow. Those are my favorite characters. See, I'm debating with myself even in the middle of this podcast. I feel like anime is something that today you can have a favorite character. A year from now, your favorite character might change completely. I think that, just my favorite anime characters change often. So, animes that I'm currently watching. I'm currently watching My Hero Academia. I gotta know how it ends, and I stay off social media on the weekends, and I don't go into comment sections just because it's the smart thing to do. Another anime I'm currently watching is Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, which I have not watched it. I don't know if the episodes come out on Saturdays or Sundays. I haven't really paid enough attention to realize it. I kind of just watched it as it went on. It's starting really, really good. Like I've enjoyed it. I really, really have. I don't really have much to say. And the thing that I appreciate is that a lot of people don't like this thing with the power of friendship, but I feel like you can make the argument for every shonen anime, it has the power of friendship. And for other animes, it's more so unspoken, but for Fairy Tail, it's very spoken. So just think it depends on how you want to look at it personally. And then One Piece. One Piece, I do have some favorite characters, which, I feel like for me in One Piece, a lot of my favorite characters are more so the side characters. I'm not going to really name them in order from, say, my favorite to, not favorite out among them. Since I just finished Wano, Kaido's kid, Yamato, but also going by Odin. I'm not going to explain why Yamato goes by Odin. I'll let you watch and find out years later, potentially, why Yamato goes by both names. Another favorite character of mine is Corazon. I'm not going to explain too much about that one. And then I'd say my third favorite character, sort of, is Odin. Not going to explain too much about the reasons why they are my favorite characters, but also to name my favorite Straw Hat, just because I feel like that's incredibly important, because if you've seen One Piece or know of One Piece, you're more likely to recognize the names of, say, the Straw Hat Pirates. In One Piece, it's a show about pirates. I would say Jinbei. Jinbei's easily my favorite Straw Hat character. I'd say Nico Robin, just because I think she's the most important crew member. I think, yeah, she's the most important crew member. So I'd say those are my top two favorite. Also Chopper. I still like Chopper, even though that Chopper, I feel like at this point, is comedic relief more often than not. But at the same time, I have not watched Egghead or read Egghead, so hey, Egghead can prove me wrong. Anyway, yes, the latest name of the arc, I believe, is Egghead Island. Correct me if I'm wrong. But to slowly start to wrap up, to talk about anime content that I'm excited for, I have a list of four things. Two of them are connected, and one I already started talking about, Dragon Ball Daima, which I don't really need to go into any more depth about that. The biggest thing I'm excited for is Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero, which is a video game that is coming out on October 11th, October 8th if you pre-ordered it, and also October 8th is my big sister's birthday. I have not pre-ordered the game yet, but hint, hint, somebody should get the game for my birthday since my birthday is October 3rd. But anyways, yeah, it's Budokai Tenkaichi 4, the sequel. So it's just my childhood catching up with me, allowing me to relive my childhood in my early 20s. And fun fact, my older brother got Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 like the day it came out. A family member got it for him. And so I played him the very first game. He picked Mecha Frieza while I picked Cell Jr. I ended up winning that fight. So Cameron, my brother, if you're listening, we should recreate that fight. You pick, because I'm 99% sure, because they on the YouTube channel, the Bandai Namco YouTube channel, they've they posted trailers of all the characters, and they confirm what characters are in the game. I feel like I remember seeing a Mecha Frieza. Cell Jr. is definitely in the game, but Mecha Frieza I feel like is a very important part of the story also. So I feel like he has to be in the game. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But there's a lot of characters, and also me, my friend Kevin, we've been talking, saying that nah, I'm gonna beat you. No, you're gonna beat me. We're gonna make each other rage quit. Because for me and Kevin, the game that we've been playing, not as much so this summer, but in the past, My Hero Ultra Rumble, it's a great game, just very, very toxic. But we're gonna play that with him and also other friends, from high school that I know they're going to get the game, going to play against them. And I have to make sure that I practice at that a lot because, Budokai Tenkaichi 3, I feel like I was pretty good at that game. My brother was better than me, in the past, like for sure, for sure. But for this game, I got to make sure that I'm better than my brother. Like, I can't let my brother, because it's my PS5. I can't bring my PS5 to my brother and be like, let's play. And then he beats me. I can't do it. I have to have the home field advantage, okay? I have to. So the two of the things that I am excited for is the My Hero Academia movie, which I'm a little unsure on when it's supposed to release. Like I saw some things that it's supposed to release in October, but I understand that anime movies like, My Hero, they're released in Japan before they get, released over here, and not even just released in, the Japanese language or the English language. I just know that it'll air overseas before it's aired here. But if it does come out in October, I have to see that movie. I have to. I have to. I have to. I have to. The My Hero movies have been all pretty good. And then the last thing I'd like to talk about is Bleach. I picked up Bleach in college. I believe my sophomore year is when I started it. In which my roommate at the time was watching it with me. And Bleach has a lot of online for certain animes. You can look up like a filler list. For those that don't know, filler is anime that doesn't follow the main story. And so Bleach's filler, at least to me, it didn't seem like it was filler. It seemed as if it can be part of the main story somehow, some way, depending on how they connected it. There was a certain arc that I told my roommate as I was watching because I was interested in it, even though it was filler. That my roommate thought it was the main story, but when I told him it was filler, he was like, "What the heck?" That was pretty funny. And Bleach's story, I believe, has been over for a while. I understand that the anime came back. It came back my junior year. I remember watching it. Came back around this time my junior year of college, so about 2 years ago, give or take. But I believe the finale is supposed to be coming out around October, so I'm excited to see how that ends. And Bleach, my favorite character in all of Bleach, I would have to say is either Shinji. I think his abilities are super, super cool. Ichigo's a dog. Don't have to say that much. And then another one, I would say Captain Hitsugaya. the captain with the ice bankai. Those are just a few of some of my really good characters. But just to wrap things up, anime is not for everybody. It's not. It just played a big part of my life just because it gave me something to do on times where I was really bored, and it gave me kind of something to grind and work towards. And I've got a ton of anime shirts. I have an anime tattoo. I have a Plus Ultra tattoo on my left shoulder. Because the definition is to go beyond, and for me, it just means to never give up, to keep going even when life gets tough. And in the future, I'm going to get a Demon Slayer tattooed on my, it's either my back or my heart. I'm not sure. By my heart, I mean my chest. I'm going to get one of the characters. Actually, definitely the most iconic phrase in the entire show: "Set your heart ablaze." Not going to say who said it because I know that some of you who do listen have not seen Demon Slayer, and I do not want to spoil it for you. So those are the Demon Slayer tattoo is going to be my second anime tattoo. We'll see in the future which more I can get. And hey, maybe in the future I can go to an anime convention, which I would totally dress up because growing up, I love dressing up for Halloween costumes. Hadn't really so much as a young adult in recent years, but going to an anime convention would be pretty cool. But we're at the end of the episode. I just want to say thank you all for watching this episode. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit with me and learn more about anime. But I just want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.